Hello everyone and welcome to everyone's favorite game show, Life by the Meter. Today we're here on UofT's campus to look at a meter by meter squared and see what kind of life we can find. What's up with that? So, but without further ado, let's get started. First off, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. Well, actually the tree in the meter by meter squared. So there's one tree that actually ended up being within our meter by meter squared. So that tree is a red maple, and we can tell by the shape of its leaves. So this species usually sports between 3 and 5 different lobes. So this one has 3. Its leaves are usually light green. However, this one fell off the tree a while ago. Of course, the red maple is native to here in Canada and is used as a national symbol of pride on our Canadian flag. These trees can grow about 25 meters high and about 1 meter in diameter. Their bark is usually kind of grayish with a light brown sort of tinge, and it's very flaky and often peels off the tree, as you can see here. All around our meter by meter squared, we could see lots of pieces of bark just lying there. Next up, I wanted to highlight the American elm. I've chosen to include species which have their organic material fall into the meter by meter square. I was lucky enough to find some American elm leaves, as there was an American elm tree situated about 5 meters away from our site. This particular species gave me probably the most trouble with, as this species looks pretty similar to the Siberian elm, but I believe it is actually an American elm. And the reasons for this is the particular tooth pattern it has on its leaves. You can see that there are double-toothed leaves, whereas the Siberian elm has single teeth. Another distinguishing feature that we can look at is the way that the base of this leaf is constructed. You can see here that the two sides are not evenly symmetrical. Another feature was the large size of the leaves on this tree. These leaves grow in an alternate arrangement along the branch, so if the branch is here, they don't grow symmetrically. They grow slightly staggered. American elm usually stands between 24 and 30 meters tall, and the bark of this tree is gray or brown in color. Mature trees sport these diamond-shaped furrows in its bark. Most elm trees alive today are medium to small in size because they grew after the peak in Dutch elm disease. But this particular tree managed to survive that. A fun fact is that the University of Guelph is actually sequencing the genome of these mature elm trees, and that is allowing for future breeding. The next tree species that I managed to find evidence of today was actually a black walnut tree. Black walnuts are native to Canada. This species sports thin, oblong leaves that have a predominant point. They can be about 30 meters in height. Their bark is quite dark in color and very thickly ridged. This tree actually produces a nut, a black walnut, and it comes in one of these bizarre little spiky cases. One of these would be inside of one of these, which looks kind of like a tennis ball, but a little bit smaller, or like an apple. So that brings us to a total of 3 different tree species which have different biomass within this meter by meter squared plot. We also managed to find a large number of insects, including the greenhouse millipede.
I may have just broken up someone's date, so sorry about that. There are millipedes here, and they were all intertwined before I realized there was 2 of them.
Wow, look at that. The greenhouse millipede is a flat-backed millipede that is brown with many, many legs, as its name suggests. Quick change of background because the university students were getting quite rowdy. There might be a little bit of hooting and hollering in the background. Sorry about that. The greenhouse millipede is an invasive species originally from Asia. They do not have eyes and instead use their antennae to perceive the world. Specifically, these little guys have 60 legs and 15 separate body segments. This species' diet consists of decaying organic matter, such as leaf litter, mulch, or grass. It's quite fit that we found it underneath a pile of leaves. As I'm sure most of you can tell, this is an ant. The number of species of ant here in Ontario, Canada is very large, and it could be any of those species, but I believe it is an odorous house ant. I was curious as to why they are called this, and upon further research found that they release a stinky, rotten coconut-smelling substance when crushed or threatened. This species is extremely adaptable and can nest just about anywhere, like open soil, under stones or plants, under leaves, or in rubbish piles. It is strongly attracted to sweet substances and has multiple queens within its colonies. Next up, Pillbug is not an insect at all, and instead it is an isopod, which is a category that includes crustaceans such as shrimp. We're used to seeing crustaceans on the shoreline, but this is a terrestrial crustacean. These guys also eat decaying organic matter. Their bodies are composed of 7 hardened individual plates that overlap. Another common name for this species is roly-polies. This is because they roll into a ball, not only as a defense mechanism, but to retain water. Next up, we found some little flying bugs. I think these are fungus gnats. As with most of these species, fungus gnats like decaying wet, damp areas of vegetation. We actually managed to find some mature fungus gnats and some larvae. These little worm creatures will soon be able to take flight as fully formed adult fungus gnats. This is a species y'all should be familiar with at this point.
Common plantain.
Plantago major. This is most commonly found in southwest Ontario in row crops, waste places, and open fields. Mature leaves form a rosette and establishes in all different types of soils. We did manage to find a total of 4 weed/grasses, 2 different grass species as well as 2 different weed species. Are you guys ready to learn a bit about this lichen species? I believe this is Lecanora moralis. Usually growing on tree trunks, but sometimes growing on rocks. This grayish-green species can grow all year round. I was unable to identify the specific species of moss as there are so many of them. I believe the genus is Hypomnum. Hypomnum species of moss are found across all continents except Antarctica. Typically, they're found in temperate regions, such as this. One species we found, which ran in and out of the meter by meter squared, was the eastern gray squirrel. Although he wasn't at all times within our meter by meter squared, he did pass through a few times. Let me see if I can get you guys some clips of what they look like. Shh, quiet, he's foraging. Let's keep our voices down and see if we can interview the little guy. Hello, would you like to comment about the current state of the food here on campus? Thank you for this very informative information. This is actually just one species of squirrel with 2 melanistic color variations of black and gray. The eastern gray squirrel is a medium-sized rodent with an average length of 18 inches, including its very bushy tail, which can make up almost half its body length. In the wild, they typically live 3 to 4 years, but some have been known to live up to 10 years. So that brings us to the very end of today's video. We ended up with a total of about 19 species, give or take a couple different insects that were a bit difficult to identify.
Hello, little guy.
If you have any entomologists in the comments down below, let me know what these species are. If we're able to include humans, which of course we need to, as we all have a human impact on our ecosystems, that brings us to 20 species. If you did like the video, make sure to like and subscribe. We're trying to hit 150 subscribers by my birthday at the end of September. And most importantly, make sure to stay curious. And I'll see you in the next science video.